I think you folks from Hershey all know or heard of Susan at one time or another. And I was reading this resume, and this is published on the internet. Uh, you've been on a lot of boards there, Susan. Susan, founding board member, longtime chairperson of the Hershey Area Playhouse, board member and vice president of the Hershey Symphony Orchestra, and was a board member for the Hershey Derry Township Historical Society, founding board member and past chairperson of Downtown Hershey Association, founding board member, longtime volunteer with the annual New Year's Eve in Hershey event, and served as Hershey Theater Apollo Awards judge for 11 years. And you came to Central Pennsylvania. This is interesting, and was anchor and reporter for, it says CBS affiliate. I would assume that's Channel 21.
That's correct.
Sounds right. Yeah, yeah. And where did you come from, Susan?
I grew up in north central New Jersey, a little town called Westfield, which is a little bit like Hershey, but about 25 minutes from New York City and about the same distance to the Jersey Shore. So it was a pretty perfect place to grow up.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And here's a little Derry Presbyterian connection. So I grew up in Westfield next to Ruth and Al Ricks. And many of you on this call probably remember them as longtime members of Derry Presbyterian.
Yes, yes, very good, very good. So you may go right on ahead, Susan, and show us about the Parks and Recreation.
Sure. Well, thank you, Jack, and to Sue George as well for the invitation to join you this morning for the Issues class. And Jack mentioned a little bit about some of the things I'm involved in the community. And you may know that I'm also a Derry Township supervisor, and I'm finishing out my 6-year term as a supervisor, and was a past chair of the board as well. And the reason I'm involved in all these things, including being a supervisor, is like you, I love Derry Township and really enjoy touching this community and being a part of its success and moving it forward. So it makes me happy to do things like this and share some of the things that I'm passionate about. And one of the projects that I'm very, very passionate about is our new community center. So today we're going to take a little time to just quickly kind of review the project. I'll look at some of the pictures of how it's being constructed, tell you a little bit about what's ahead in terms of when it's going to open, what the projected fees and hours of operation are, what you might find inside this wonderful building. And then you are the first group to take a tour of the community center. So we have a video tape presentation that will take you through the building. And so you're going to be some of the first people to see inside that. So I hope you are excited to take the tour with me in just a couple of minutes. So also I will mention too that if you have questions at the end, please let me know. I'll do my best to answer them. And if for some reason I don't have the answer, I promise I will get it for you. But just keep those questions written down, and I'll try to get to them at the end of the presentation. All right. So some of you, if you've lived in the community for a very long time, you may remember the original community center, which is at the front of the Hershey Theater at 14 East Chocolate Avenue. And that was our community center from 1932 until 1963. Now, this precedes my time here in Hershey and on Earth, actually, but it was supposed to have been really the gem of our community and a place where everyone congregated and socialized, and it was really a big part of the fabric of our community and part of Milton Hershey's legacy. Some of these pictures may look familiar either because you've been there or because you've seen them in past presentations. Then fast forwarding to 1963, what you will remember as the Derry Township Recreation Center was constructed in its current location on Cocoa Avenue. And that served the community until a few years ago as our recreation center. And if you remember, inside there was a lap pool. We had a roof that would open and make it an outdoor pool in the warmer months. We had an outdoor pool that was heavily used by families. Inside there was a gymnasium and a little bit of lobby space. And back in the 60s and 70s, and maybe even a little bit into the 80s, that recreation center served our community very well. But you can imagine, as all things do, this building was beginning to age, and some of the things inside it were impossible to update, including the mechanicals in the pools because they were so old. And the other piece was that there really wasn't room to expand. So our community was expanding, the focus on fitness was expanding, but we were locked into the size of this facility. You may also know that this facility was originally run by a group representative of the entities of Hershey. But in 1979, they turned it over to Derry Township to run, and Derry Township has run it since then. So just backing up a little bit, the facility that you saw just a moment ago, the most recent one, was dedicated in memory of Milton Hershey in 1963 by the Hershey Chocolate Corporation, and it was operated by the M.S. Hershey Foundation. Now, it began as a state-of-the-art structure at that time with those innovative designs, including that retractable dome, which I'll have to tell you the last 2 years did not open and close all too well. But it did work very well initially. Again, it was sold to the township for $1 in 1979 on September 13th, which we all know is Milton Hershey's birthday. And it had been operated by the township for the community and really was the hub of recreation since that time. It served our community really well until 2019. But again, it was very limited due to the lack of space on the site after 55 years. You probably also know that the Recreation Center was the home of the Hershey High School swim team and the host of many community events, multitude of ongoing aquatics and recreational programs throughout the year. And if you raised your children here, you probably spent many a summer sitting at that outdoor pool and taking them to swim lessons, and perhaps they had their after prom party there. You may have attended craft shows and different events that were run so well by our talented Parks and Recreation Department. In addition, as I mentioned, was the site of the township's summer outdoor pool. The beauty of the location is it's right next to the school district campus, which has really shown a real need for a more robust after-school program between the school district and the township. A lot of children looking for something to do after school. Both, again, the program and the facility demands really far exceeded the current facility and the ability to accommodate all that. As I mentioned, the community's recreation and their social and aquatic needs really couldn't be met in the existing facility because of the lack of space and also because of the lack of water. So the facility was 56 years old in 2020 and was most definitely showing its age in a lot of areas of the infrastructure. And for those of you who followed this story, you may know that the planning process, although this has been thought of for many, many years, what will we do next and when will we replace the community center? The actual planning started back in 2014. And it began with community stakeholders meeting to discuss what would they like to see in a new community center. So it was sort of the pie in the sky, if we could have anything, what would we want to see in there? And all those results were taken and reviewed and then looked at with a consultant that we worked with back at that time, Ballard King and Associates. And they kind of came up with given the space of the footprint on that land and the needs and wants of the community, and they compared it to what other successful facilities were doing across the country. They came up with a plan of what our community center could house. We heard lots of things about people wanting more water, wanting more space to recreate, to socialize, to take classes, all sorts of things. So all of that was kind of put into the mix and reviewed. And then if you followed the project at all, you probably know too that it also went through many iterations. It started out originally as a 2-story facility, and it had a 50-meter pool. Over the course of time and through the pandemic and other obstacles that we hit related to construction and just a change of sort of a focus on the center, it went from a 2-story 50-meter pool to at one point a 35-meter pool to now a 25-meter pool. So then it's one floor. So the project has iterated a bit since it was approved, but I'm happy to tell you that despite all the changes, it is a beautiful facility, and I'm so excited to see it come to fruition finally after all these years. The ground was broken in 2020 in the height of the pandemic, and we're on schedule to open in the summer of 2022. And I'm very confident that you're going to be excited looking at these pictures and the video, and I hope the rest of the community is as well. So just to let you know where we are as of today, we're about 14 months into a 22-month construction period, and the new 90,000 square foot community center is going to house a gym, a fitness center, as I mentioned, a 25-yard indoor lap competitive pool, an indoor water leisure pool, an outdoor pool, the senior center, a teen center, and a variety of classrooms and multi-use space. And what's nice about having these 3 bodies of water is for those of you like me who prefer the water to be a little bit warmer, you will find yourselves along with me in the water, the indoor water leisure pool, because that will be temperatures you're more used to using. Whereas the lap pool, the competitive pool, the water will be just a couple degrees cooler because that's more conducive to competitive and lap swimming. So really nice that we're able to take the water and divide it that way. Overall, when you look at the 3 bodies of water, we're actually going to have about 3,000 square feet more of water. It's going to be divided up differently than what everyone was used to, but overall, it is a little bit more water that we'll have for the community, which is a wonderful thing. Here's a little look at what the center looks like off the blueprints. You may be able to tell from this that it's divided into 4 main quadrants. When you come in the front door here, as you peel off to the right, you're going to head over to the senior center. Plus the senior center has its own special door. So they have their own entrance as well. Going back in through here, there's some offices, people movers will be back in there. We also have a fitness center, both for classes and equipment. We have a gymnasium that is going to be lined for basketball, futsal, and pickleball, which is wildly popular. And there'll also be an indoor track. So if you just like to walk and you want to be indoors, especially in the colder months, you'll have a place to do that here as well. Locker room space. Over here, you'll see some bleachers that take you into the competitive space. We have seating for 300 people. Plus we'll have 10 lanes. So the high school kids can swim. All of us can swim there competitively if we'd like, or not competitively, but at least swim laps. And then we can also, host other groups that want to use that space. And then over here is the leisure pool that I mentioned, which has a wonderful slide that actually exits the building and comes back in. So I want to be one of the first ones on that slide. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. And this is a 0 depth entry pool, which is going to make it really nice for people to not have to struggle getting in on a ladder to get into the water, whether it's because you're older or because you've got younger kids and you need to have them get into the water very easily. So here's some photos. If you've driven by Cocoa Avenue, you've probably seen this building come up, and it's been so exciting to watch it come out of the ground. But this is what the front entrance is going to look like. And you'll see here a comparison between the actual photo and the rendering of what we envisioned the project was going to be looking like. Capital Construction is building this, and our architects are Kimmel Bogret plus site, and they are doing a wonderful job. The entrance driveway, again, coming up. And the goal here is to get everything enclosed by the time that it gets cold so that they can start to begin indoor work. The main corridor, again, you can see where we are right now, and then you can kind of use your imagination as to what this will look like in the future. This top picture up here on the right is actually our community living room space where people can just hang out. There'll be a little bit of a fireplace in there and a flat screen TV, and be a nice place just to relax and talk to people. Our teen center, we're really excited about this. This will be a space for our teens to use, probably mostly after school is when they would come over just to blow off some steam. There'll be some games in there they can play, both video games and, like air hockey kind of games. Plus there'll be a place for them to study as well. So be a nice place for our teens to come after school. Community living room, this is a better shot of this, is what I mentioned. So you'll see here, you can get access to that other quadrant of the building into the lap pools, but also you can just relax here and greet people as they come in and out of the community center. Here's the leisure pool that I mentioned. Again, the rendering down here below, you can see the slide that again leaves the building and comes back in, and the progress of the construction. These pictures were just taken a couple of weeks ago. The lap competitive pool, which is actually the last piece of the indoor work that I believe they're going to be doing. Fitness center. And the outdoor pool. And you can see here down at this picture at the bottom, there are also some spray features. So we don't count that in the water square footage, but there's extra places for kids to play in these spray features. And it also takes you right inside to the leisure pool. So we anticipate people coming back and forth between the leisure pool and the outdoor pool, in the summer months, just because that'll just give people more places to go and play. And certainly we know our weather in central Pennsylvania, even in the summer, isn't always cooperative. So this gives people an opportunity to have fun and swim indoors if our weather is not good in the summer. All right, so I hope that has gotten you a little excited. I'm going to take a moment here to get our video ready to show to you. With my husband, Doug Nicotera, we went down to the community center construction site with Zach Jackson, who is our director of Parks and Recreation. And we took this tour. So I'm going to just take a moment to share that, and hopefully this will give you a good sense of the project. All right, hopefully this works. Zach, tell us, how is construction going?
Construction's going very well. We're about 14 months into our 22-month construction period. So at this point, we're very happy with how things are progressing, and it's putting us right on track for opening in early summer of 22.
So what kinds of things have been done so far?
So far, there's been a lot of work done on site, everything from structural steel, outside walls. Most of the building is under finished roofing at this point. All of the concrete floors have been done, and work continues to be done with electrical rough-ins, plumbing rough-ins, fire protection systems, ductwork, and currently they're working on the leisure pool with the concrete forms. And next on the list, the big project will be the competition pool, which will be done in mid to late August.
So talk a little bit about the schedule for construction, what needs to be done still, and how we get to that anticipated opening in May of 22.
Certainly. A lot needs to be done in terms of interior walls with drywall. We need to continue with electrical, plumbing, ductwork, interior finishes. But right now we are on track, like I said, and we will be opening. Hopefully, substantial completion will be done in April, which will give us time as the township to take over ownership of the building and give us 2 months or so to get in, get everything we need to be done to the building to be able to open in early summer.
So things are on time and on budget?
We are on time and on budget.
When can people expect to hear more about the programs and the amenities and the rates and everything related to actually using the community center?
Later this year, probably by the end of the year, we'll have our membership fees, program fees, rental fees, have that information available. And then early in 22, springtime 22, we'll have program information available for people to register for programs and also have our membership pre-sale going at that time.
This has to be pretty exciting for you. This has been worked on for so many years. How are you feeling right now?
Very exciting. It's been 7 years in the making. So to see all of the progress, it's certainly exciting and really becoming real at this point that we're going to have such an incredible community center.
And what are your hopes for the community for enjoying this for, however many years? I mean, what do you hope that they get out of it?
I'm just hoping, and I know that this is going to be, a true community center. It's just going to be a great place for people, all ages, interests, ability levels, to come here under one roof. And I think it's really going to strengthen our community and just help bring everyone together.
Well, let's go see what's going on inside.
All right, be happy to show you around. All right, I'm standing here in the main entrance of the Hershey Community Center. The building is broken into 4 main quadrants. Off to this side here is the lap and competition pool area with spectator seating. Further down on the other side will be the warm water leisure pool and also a large group fitness center. On the far end will be the gymnasium, and attached to that is the fitness center. And then the last remaining quadrant includes all the office administration spaces, the senior center, and the teen center. All right, we're heading in through the senior center entrance. As you come through, the senior center office administrative spaces are here. Off to the other side, this is the office for the people movers. And next to that, this will be a coffee station that will be housed here. They're calling this area the pre-function space, which is the main corridor through here. And it leads into the multi-purpose room that is divisible into thirds. So this room will be used by the seniors during the daytime, Monday through Friday, and then the township will take this over in the evenings and weekends for rentals, banquets, and other type of programming. The nice part about this space is that it is divisible, so you can use it as one large room, or you can use it as 3 separate areas as well. Right behind me is the flex space, and behind that are 2 additional classrooms, also be used by the senior center, and then used for programming and classes by the township in evenings and weekends as well. I'm standing in the kitchen area, which this space will also be utilized by the senior center, but also will be available for community use during rentals and banquets. And this space is our teen room. This will be housing after-school activities and just give our students a place to come after school. Whether they're hanging out or doing some collaborative schoolwork, this will be the space for them. We'll have 2 televisions in this area. One will be set up for television and viewing and movie viewing. The other one will be set up with a gaming system. We'll also have some game tables in this space as well. This is our community living room. This area will have a flat screen TV, a fireplace, and some soft seating. This is a great space for our community to come together to be able to socialize here in the main entrance corridor. We're now in the fitness center. On the far side, we'll have a spin room, and clear in the back will be the small group fitness. Up here you can see the knee walls for all the cardio equipment. We have space enough for 42 pieces of cardio equipment. There will also be strength training equipment along this side and along the far back wall as well. On this side, we go into the gymnasium. This will be lined for basketball, volleyball, pickleball, and indoor futsal. We'll also have a walking track around the perimeter of the gymnasium as well. And this is our party room, which will be available on evenings and weekends for rentals for the community for birthday parties. And off the side is our large group fitness area. Our higher impact and larger classes will be held in this area. It does have a divider, so we are able to divide that space into 2. This space will also serve as a rental space as well. It can be used for birthday parties and other community rentals. And this is our indoor warm water leisure pool. This will have 4 lap lanes. We'll also have a 0 depth entry and a play structure as well. There will be an indoor slide that will go outside of the building and come back into the building into a deck runoff. And the best thing about this is it has connectivity to our splash pad and our outdoor pool, so the community members will be able to roam seamlessly between those 3 bodies of water. Behind me are the locker rooms that will serve both the leisure pool and the competitive pool area. In the competitive pool, there will be spectator seating for over 300 spectators with a viewing gallery at the top. This pool will be 10 lanes, and it will be 25-yard configuration, and this will be kept at a colder temperature in order to accommodate competitive swimming and lap swimming as well. Moving outside, you can see our outdoor check-in area and also our outdoor concession area. As you move further down will be our splash pad area, which will provide that connectivity between the zero depth entry to the outdoor leisure pool and the indoor leisure pool. So I'm here in the outdoor pool. In this area, we'll have a variety of spray features, and behind me, you'll see the main body of the pool. Off to this side, there'll be a large outdoor slide. So you'll see that plunge area there. And the furthest back will be the diving well, which will have 2 1-meter boards. So thanks very much for taking the tour. We'll do more tours in the future as things progress here with construction. In the meantime, you can check out hersheycommunitycenter.org for all project information. And of course, we'll look forward to seeing you here next summer for the grand opening of the Hershey Community Center.
Pretty exciting. You got to take a tour and you didn't need a hard hat, so that was good. So I hope you enjoyed that. And as Zach mentioned, we'll take more tours in the future, and we'll be sharing this tour as well as future ones on hersheycommunitycenter.org. And I just wanted to say a big thank you to Zach, one, for taking the time to take us on the tour, but also for all his hard work. He was recently appointed as our Director of Parks and Recreation after serving as Assistant Director for about 12 years. And he worked along Matt Mandia, our former Parks and Rec Director, who just retired after 27 years of service to Derry Township. So the two of them have really been incredibly instrumental in guiding this project and, of course, seeing it to the finish line. So we're excited to have Zach's leadership and appreciate all that Matt's done for our community. And we look forward to seeing everything take shape with this center. And of course, the Parks and Rec is a lot more than the community center. It's all the walking and biking trails and the parks they maintain and all the special programs, from drive-in movies to Easter egg hunts and visits with Santa, and you name it. If it's something fun in this community, our Parks and Rec department is probably behind it. So let me take a moment to share the PowerPoint again and just share some additional information with you. All right. Hopefully you can all see that. So this is a look. Zach mentioned that we would officially share these when they're final with the community, probably in December, but these are pretty darn final. So I thought it was okay to share with you what he's thinking for hours of operation for the center. And this is a little bit more than what it was, I think 4 or 5 hours more than what it was currently. Summer pool hours. And it would be open earlier than that during the week for swim lessons as well. And this is a look at what the projected membership and daily fees are. And I know you're probably all looking around to see where you fit in this chart. I will mention that if you have silver sneakers, that this community center will accept that. So if you have silver sneakers, you just swipe your card and off you go. And I'm not exactly sure. I think it's 10 visits per month that Silver Sneakers covers, which is pretty nice. So if you fall in that category, that's a wonderful benefit that you have. If not, you'll see daily rates for residents. It's about 25% higher for non-residents. You can buy a 10 admission pack, a 1-month pack, a 3-month membership, an annual membership. And of course, if you do the electronic funds transfer, there's a little bit of a discount there as well. And then you'll also have the ability to rent different parts of the facility, including the lanes, the kitchen, the classrooms, which is great. There's always a shortage of meeting space in the community. So if you're with a club or a group and need a space to rent, it's available here as well. There'll be party rooms for kids' birthday parties. Plus you can rent out the fitness room, the game room. So you see here how these are all broken down. And the multi-purpose community room is actually divisible by 3. So you could rent the whole thing or just one part of it. And again, there are packages that they're going to offer as well. And if you want the entire facility, like if Derry Presbyterian wants to do a whole big party there, you can just rent the entire facility just for your organization. I will also mention too that there will be a membership pre-sale. I'm not sure if this is going to be early 22 or late December 2021, but there'll be an incentive to do your membership early. Probably it'll be, you know, if you buy a year's membership, you get so many extra months free, that kind of thing. But definitely keep an eye out for that, because if you're interested in joining, that would be a very good time to take advantage of that, that special that they have. Zach mentioned checking out the website. If you're interested in construction photos and want to watch this project come to life, I mean, you can definitely see it from the road, but the pictures that he's been posting on our community center website are really pretty neat, and you can get a better look of all the goings-ons with the construction. I did want to mention too that if you've been following the project, you probably know that we ran a capital campaign, and I'm very pleased to tell you that we're close to $2.8 million with our capital campaign. And that's just based on very generous donations from individuals and corporations. And that's pretty fantastic. The project originally was a $5 million capital campaign, but with all the changes and the pandemic, we were very, very excited to be at that $2.8 million range. Again, the generosity of many people. And then also there is a state grant that is helping to fund this as well, which is an extra $2 million on top of the capital campaign. And then beyond that, it's being funded through grant support as well as taxpayer support. So that is a little bit about the new Hershey Community Center, again, opening in May of 2022. And I know the community is very excited about it. I hope you all have a chance to come and visit and perhaps, you know, actually become a member or at least buy some passes to enjoy the facility, whether you're using the senior center or using any other part of it. I should mention too that if you're just there just to use the senior center alone, you don't need to have a community center membership unless you want to use the other amenities in the community center. So let's say you're a member of the senior center and you're just going to be going to senior center programs, you come in their entrance and you don't have to do anything more. But if you wanted to go to the senior center and then maybe take a swim or use the gym, then you would need that extra membership from the Hershey Community Center. So with that, I will turn it over to all of you in case you have any questions about the community center or Parks and Rec or any other question that's on your mind about the community. I'd be happy to try to answer it for you.
There's been mention throughout the presentation of some programs, but could you maybe run down what programs you've had in the past with the rec center and what you would expect for organized programs?
Oh, they could run the gamut of things related to swimming, so maybe water aerobics or swim lessons for children or for adults. Things, anything exercise related in the water could be something. Definitely exercise classes, so perhaps Pilates, yoga, a spin class. In addition to being able to just use the fitness center on your own, there would be organized classes there as well. And I would also imagine, even craft classes, anything you can imagine really that a community center could be used for. The sky's sort of the limit, and there's plenty of space there. So I think just keep your eye on the Parks and Recreation Department. They have a newsletter they put together that you can sign up for. Plus that information will be shared through the Township e-newsletter. So just keep an eye on things because I think they're going to be putting some really wonderful programs together, but for all ages.
Do you have a sense for how many in membership? Do you have a sense for how many are Derry Township and how many are outside of Derry Township?
Oh, I'm sure there is a study on that, Jack. I don't know the percentage, but this community center is for our community first. It's for our residents first. That's our priority. However, no community center can thrive without the support of people from outside of its community. So I know the focus is on the residents. The prices are are, scheduled for the residents. And then if you're a non-resident, of course, it's more. I forget the percentage, but again, the focus is really on the community of Derry Township.
Thank you. Debbie, you have something? Go ahead.
Yes, Susan, I belong to a group that has been renting the Moeller Senior Center once a month. Is that something, when it's available, do we work through their administration to?
I would think so, Debbie. I mean, some of this hasn't all been figured out yet, but if you've been working through the senior center, I would start there with Melissa Weigel.
Okay.
However, if it's something that you're renting and it was outside of the normal senior center hours, that might fall under the township now. But either way, I mean, if you start with Melissa, she'll connect you with Zach. But I would think, because after hours, like I forget when the senior center has the space till it might be 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, then the township would sort of take over that space for rentals. So if your group is not connected to the senior center, but you've just been using their space, that might end up becoming a township contact ultimately.
Okay, that's helpful.
Okay, I'm glad. It's not much of a definitive answer, but I think that's
yeah, they're very anxious to know what's happening. So.
Anybody else? I thought it was interesting, Susan. I believe you said that they started the project at the beginning of the pandemic, because
yes.
Construction costs have gone up quite a lot here this year, and I was wondering if that had an effect on the building of the center.
They, the ground wasn't broken until the pandemic was already, in full swing. And they had planned on construction costs going up anyway as part of a contingent. So I don't know that they certainly weren't predicting a pandemic, but they were predicting that construction prices were going up. So I'm told that we're on budget. So I think they planned wisely.
That's a good job. Yes.
That's amazing.
So what did you think? I mean, it's kind of hard to put it all together, but it's so nice to walk around and see it kind of coming and taking shape. Could you kind of imagine where things were and how it's going to be to actually be there when it's done?
I remember my wife and I driving by and looking at it and wondering, what's this, what's that? We're very curious about what was going on. And this really is, you've really done a nice job in making that video and showing the presentation that you showed. Now we know what we're looking at.
Well, good. I'm glad. And we'll do more of these. And then once it's under roof and it's safe for people to walk around and you can really kind of see it, we're going to have community tours where you can actually go in person. But for the next couple of months, while it's still, required to wear a hard hat, we'll just send, our crew in, again, my husband and our director of Parks and Rec, just to kind of take you through and give you an update. So watch the Hershey Community Center .org website for more tours in the future. And Jack, I'll be sure to let you know so you can let the class know as well.
Very good. Thank you.
Great.
Bill, do you have something? You're on mute. Yes.
Yeah, I have a question. Most times when you build something of this magnitude, it's built with the concept of expansion. Is there a growth plan? Is there expansion? Like, can you expand this, or are we pretty well limited to what's going to be poured?
I know there was talk at one point about thinking about potentially having the ability to expand something, I believe, on the gym side, but they have built this bill with kind of that 40-year, 50-year plan in place. So hopefully there wouldn't be a need to, but I think I'd have to go check on that, where that conversation was left, but they have built it in mind that it's going to last for the next 40 or 50 years, way beyond any of us using it, I'm sure. So, but it was made with plans for the future.
All right.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I go by it virtually every day, and it's one big building. I know that.
Yeah. I think
we'll have it under one roof.
Pardon?
Be nice to have all these groups under one roof.
Oh, I know. And the possibility, Debbie, for intergenerational connection is really great. I mean, when you're having a teen center and a senior center and a fitness center and the pools and everybody there, I mean, I really feel like this community center will be a unifying piece in our community, something that brings everyone together, you know, and whether you're there to work out or swim or take your children for lessons, you know, much like the past recreation centers in our community, they are really what brings us all together. So I'm very hopeful that this new facility will do that as well.
Probably on the plans that we saw, do you know the square footage offhand of the whole building?
I think it was 90,000.
90,000, that's nice.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, Jack. Let me check real quick, but
Yeah, I think it was 90.
yeah, as I
That's
mentioned,
90 on the roof.
correct.
Mm.
Yeah,
Very nice. That's
yeah.
a good sized building.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I mean, before, you know, in the last center, they couldn't really do much programming because it was just the gym, the outdoor pool, the indoor pool, and the lobby. So there was really, you know, no space for community groups, certainly not for the seniors and the teens that were there. You know, they would just hang out in the lobby, you know, and there really wasn't much for them to do other than just sit, and there was a pool table and a vending machine. And so now we're going to have things, you know, real activities for them to do, which is going to be great.
Go ahead, Debbie.
But my question that follows up on that, Susan, really well. Having watched the Olympics and the introduction of skateboarding, will there be a skate park in the future at all with this?
So there was a skate park, Debbie, in the township that was actually closed ultimately just because there wasn't enough use of it. So, you know, that doesn't mean in the future there couldn't be if there was a real interest in it. But at this point, there just wasn't enough interest in it to sustain it. So, but you know, what's nice about the community center and our Parks and Rec department is they're always keeping an eye on, you know, what are the trends? Like take pickleball, for example, that wasn't a twinkle in anyone's eye a few years ago. And now the courts will be lined for pickleball, and our tennis court at Gelder is lined for pickleball. And they're talking about potentially finding some other spaces to make outdoor pickleball courts. So, you know, you always have to kind of look to see what does the community want and need and what can we do? So if that ever became popular again and there was a real demand for it, I'm sure they'd try to find a way to do it if they could.
And a friend of mine's in a retirement community, and oh my gosh, she talks about this competitive cornhole.
Oh,
I'm like, well, now it's on television, and
wow.
I don't know if you have to have specific things for cornhole to be competitive. I don't know, but
Well, that's
any outdoor space, I guess, could work.
Yeah, that's something to look into. If nothing else, we should get some cornhole boards for people to play in the summer. That's a good idea.
Now she's serious about it.
Yeah, I know there's tournaments out there.
Oh gosh. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Anybody else?
Well,
Yeah.
it's this year's cornhole is this year's horseshoes.
Yeah.
You don't
Something
see
like
much.
that.
You don't see many people pitching horseshoes anymore.
Or
but you
playing
see a lot- You see a lot pitching the
Beanbags.
beanbags. Yeah.
I
Maybe-
think a lot of that's because when you pitch horseshoes and you're doing it in your backyard, you got a pit and you're messing up your lawn. But cornhole, you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
There's that. Yeah.
Well, I hope you were all excited taking the tour. And again, you're the first ones to go in. So I hope you enjoyed that. And if you have any questions, Jack has my email address. So if something hits you later, feel free to reach out to him or to Sue George, and I'll be happy to answer the questions if something hits you later today or next week or next month.
Thank you
Well, thank
so
you very
much.
much. Thank you
Yes,
very
thank
much.
you very much,
It's
Susan.
very informative.
Thank you all. It's nice spending the morning with you.
Nice spending the morning with you. Take care.
Bye. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
You too.